No.
Sound.
The sound is going like this.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. Most people got it.
Only I.
Chirang di tanda di chirang li di tezi di way mic drop ji chilit way.
Like the surfing do.
Di try chila. Da dene okay. Chirang ji labda dine. Omara bazana di labda. Better, right? I think a little bit better. Let's see. 다 제자가 드리기 알아줘. 따와 줄이게 돼. 알아주냐나 타지 가르쳐고 요르스도 아니 다른 쇼게 라반다신 동반이래야 제바치베 로디 안좀마선에 끼에게 규마선에 규쪽 저버디 아니 알아줘 등징기 아주 유기 아니 알아줘야 요모 도숨 제제 답변 알아줘는 요모 남이 나서시기 요래 저 상맥이 싸워라 고여봐 타지지 마토나 아니 등징기 아주 유기 시디 매버서버 지리 슬람나 고 녀바케 매두 동반이 공백이 된데 라르 손럽지 제정의 동반이 공백이 된 우마 우메 따와디 율 공고베 고바다 겸생 가르를 슬라베이나 아니 동아란주 유기 지게 다치 셈 시월 내바디 조디 아니 더차당 셔당 라소베 아니 녀목이 매버서버디 타지로 켈란도 가지고 덴제게 더차당 셔당 라소버다 다 탐지 아니 매버서야라 크기 짜와디 아주 단다 디나로 여봐 가르베 쉽게 만나나 류러롱왕 지신도 세티 여러분식 양네 류러롱 지신도 세티 오 디송 디 김군중 양네도 송문난 신체 류러롱 지신도 류기 공부디 고니 지고도 캬반나 신 아란주기 등신디 아주 녀몬 탐지기 짜와를 여대버지 녀번여도 쓰고 보고요 대지 수요차비 쇼들라 아니 녀바도 다 디메바 마수기 봐도 angye nyomon meba su tugu mares di indu jambe ta di meba su ya la ane nyeba do dangzin de dangzin da ngo su gebe lo ne dame to be sherab di nyeba do gombu do ma do ane chige sem shen ane ko karsore da dangzin la ane ngo su minye de dangzin de zindang gebe lo ma yim chir se da riba dil de ne anga zo nyeba ne to ba chi su ko yores.
So here, when we're sort of talking about investigating into the sort of what the correct view is and how to develop the correct view in our mental continuum, we have to have some very sort of clear and decisive understand within us in terms of how we investigate emptiness and also what the understanding of investigating emptiness. So we can say that looking at, when we investigate the nature of things, we understand that the principal cause of all of our mental afflictions, the three poisons, the whole variety of negative and afflicted states of mind, they all stem from our grasping to an inherently existent self, and so that grasping to an inherently existent self lies at the root of all of those afflictive states of mind. And we have to be able to be clear and decisive about the truth of that. Because if we're not able to understand that those are the things which destroy the peace we wish for, then we've lost the actual meaning or the purpose, the meaning of emptiness or the purpose of meditating on emptiness. And so when we talk about developing the middle way, cultivating the understanding of the middle way in our mental continuum and the need to work for that, and the wish to be able to have sort of mental peace, we have to understand that attachment, hatred, and these other forms of afflictive state all destroy the peace we wish for, and so we have to eliminate those from the root. And as it says in Aryadeva's 400 verses, where there's a line where he says, just as the body, the physical sense power pervades the entire body, so from the head right down through the entire body, so just as a physical sense power is there, it pervades that, so does the effect of the self-grasping pervade all of the whole range of mental affliction and lies at their root. And therefore, if we don't destroy that, we will never be able to attain the peace we wish. And so to eliminate that, we require the wisdom that realizes the selfless as a phenomenon, and which acts as a in direct opposition to that mind of self-grasping. And without that, we have to be very clear that without that, we will not be able to eliminate the afflictions and the other faults.
Mm-hmm. True. So these in a Tibetan, we don't call it song directly, because song sounds like a little bit for kind of enjoyment, a little bit kind of a samsaric feeling is there. So this is more like, in a Tibetan we call gur, it's more like the kind of a melody to bring down the inspirations by the teachings, and remembering the kindness of your guru, kindness of sentient beings. So this is more to bring the inspirations. So in Tibetan we call guru. And more when we try to, now this is coming out quite strongly. This is written by the 7th Dalai Lama. So it's more like, looks like a little bit of the Milarepa's way of bringing the songs. As we have seen the songs of Milarepa. Why it is considered as not as similar as normally we have so many popular poetries. These are immense kind of a difference than these ordinary, because why we call this one extraordinary, it's more like it is just coming out from without any kind of a control. It is just coming out. There's Milarepa when he's start giving the teaching as he will start bringing this song, experiential song, that before he starts, he say, now I'm going to throw up. Because there's no control over when you start throwing up. So this is the real feeling, it is just coming out. So similarly, this one also, when this great 7th Dalai Lama practices, which is the 4 mindfulness teaching by Lama Tsongkhapa, very the instructions coming from Manjushri himself. So this, when we try to, for us it's not coming naturally. For us, we have to feel this extraordinary, how these great beings has done. So one trick to actually imitate these great beings, how this song was sang. So we need to feel how this, for an example, now when he prays his teacher, where he taught about the on a wisdom and then on a method. So we need to feel something. Without any feeling, we try to say it, and then when you feel like this in a melody sounds very nice, you might have a goosebumps, you might have a different feelings, but then there's nothing to take away from that. That is a bit sad, because one time me and one of my friends was going for a circle meditation in the Mahabodhi temple, and then Che was practicing there. It's so beautiful and so expressional. People are so enthusiastic, lots of joy. And then I also felt the joy. And then my friend also felt the joy from this great sounds of the church. And then he felt like, oh, I have goosebumps all over. And then later we sat down together and I said, I also had a goosebump, you also had a goosebump. So now let's talk about why your goosebump and my goosebump, the differences. So he said, I really don't know what really happened to me, but I felt so excited and so. And then I teased him, maybe if you go to one of the Michael Jackson's concert, you will also have a goosebump. So do you feel something special between these two? So I'm not saying it's the same, but it's a little similar. But to take away from this, we need to make it. When we recite, when we do our commitments, there should be one particular passage that you can remember and focus. Similarly here, when Seventh Dalai Lama praises his teachers, his guru, and then he will say, you are sitting on the cushion of extraordinary cushion, which is the union of the method and the wisdom. So he feels that, but we don't feel anything. Because for him, wisdom and the method becomes so special. Because look at how he is the one who said that self. It sounds like I'm so possessed because I see everything exists by its own. I'm totally possessed. So this is how he looks into his mind like this. And through this, he makes us, because now Simon has already translated, so we will try to add that in the section of the mindfulness of on emptiness. We are going to add that on. So this quotation is so beautiful. So he feels that. So then once he has this position, he holds this position that I am totally possessed by this self-grasping. And then when each and every time he remembers that his Lama is always a reminder, and he's always sitting on.
Here, connecting this with for instance, in the first line of the verse here, where it talks about the unchanging union upon the seat of unchangeable unification of method and wisdom, or unchanging union of method and wisdom. So this obviously really sort of connects very strongly with the Tantric tradition. But in the Sutra tradition, we would talk about an inseparable sort of in the method of wisdom being inseparable. And here, when we talk about the seat, we can think of it as a really sort of an ordinary seat in that sense. But we should think of it more like when meditating, when someone is meditating. So, for instance, when a great master sits on a high throne, and we think of them sitting upon this sort of union of method and wisdom. But what is that union? We need to look at this. So here it's what we're talking about, in a sense, the ultimate sort of nature of things. One way to look at this is to think of it as the ultimate nature, the dharmata, the ultimate nature of phenomena. But within that, being a person or a being who is able to reveal many methods in order to help other beings, so what we would call the emanation body. And then it says in the second line here, embodiment of all sources of refuge, or the essence of all refuges. So sits the kind guru, essence of all refuges. And so that why are they a refuge? And it said, here it says all refuges, all refuges. And the reason is because they have, they are they follow the correct path. They show us the way. They show us the incorrect, sort of the mistaken paths, the paths which are in absolute opposition to the true path, and they apprehend. For us, we apprehend our grasping. Take something which is not existent, that is, there's something to be truly existent, and we take it to appear the way it exists. But our refuges understand the way that things exist, that they understand that lack of intrinsic existence. They understand that intrinsic existence has no existence at all. And so we can say that this understanding within that kind of person is what we would, in the guru, we would call the Dharmakaya. So the Dharmakaya, particularly the wisdom understanding the nature of things. This we can say, whether this is actually the qualities within the person who's in front of us or not, but we can say if we think in this way, that we understand them to possess this unmistaken mind of seeing the true reality of things with this guru in front of us, and then we think of them, think of them in that way, then that has a much more powerful meaning. So this is in the context of understanding their qualities of the Dharmakaya within them.
Lama shoes. Tabando zo sanji chi tenen da kyondo pane tanang yu so to os. Ta di Tamembe Lama je on du zambe chi ga zo re tamen bigi lama di any maranju bi naoria any tamen bigi lama jebare madu tengobe tola tada al kingi chesamo ata chugubi niru tentingi lama di o koran di dichi ane pando zobe sanje nyaji legs pando zobe sanje shi tenanda silu zambe taran redus inayang re digi kushugle koala ya tamen bigi nambachi marang lo tongde re marangi lo matabi wangi tongde ya chishas pando zobe sanje shi tenanda tadi gyondo bane tanang soatom sidu marang bigi chugi yinni shardebege lama di ane marang tamen tongde ya ane 강도 지도기 소소를 나왔다 다양하게 쳐도 ane 얘기 미국 공부이스 미국 공부야디 가르치는 데서는 추구 세월 통해 쳐도 공부이스 수구 세월 수구도 추구 세월 왔다 추구도 냐면 세월 통해 쳐도 어디 공부이스 나와도 선배 그도도 슬라베나 Lama di tamemba yindi kebake medikachi. O shi nizuro tamemba yimi kebake mebara. Kanche diki tamembigi lama tele teni chugyu kowaji nyeonya di lama tele ya kandu jidu gi chugyu yingne sharwe lama siji kasu to jangni deyong bayina. Ani digi shugi ane lama di ane 그래서 주기 인내 시작되고 새로 통해야지 당한게 쏘아도 없어야 돼. 교도관에게 당한 쏘아도 아니 랑심 자현도 민주스도 지난해 봐 세바도 캠프 계제 지고 많이 봐 야현도 민주스도 또 타면비 인내 시작에 용세만 복하되지요나 뒤속이 계속 마당체 아니 캠프 제메도 체니스 캠프에 가르치면서 라마티 추구 있는 샤르데가 마시이 세제 디가나리야 아니 쇼토로 치리니 그래서 캡상 라마리 요마리 소소리요
Here, as the verse proceeds here, and in line 3, where it says this, a Buddha, abandoning the thought of, there is a Buddha fully purified and realized. So this is talking about the even we meet an ordinary guru. This is talking about and that person may appear to us as an ordinary guru, but we have to sort of understand that as in the context of our sort of impure appearance of them, our kind of mistaken impure appearance of them. So there is a Buddha fully purified and realized, abandoning the thought of mistakes, make a request with pure appearance. Supplicate them with pure perception. And so here, what we have to sort of recall is we whatever is the actual real nature of that guru who's in front of us, if we imagine that they are truly a guru who is sort of has the Dharmakaya within their continuum and comes from the Dharmakaya. Where it says what it says in line 3 is it has this line in the Tibetan which says that they are that right there. They are not a common ordinary being. They're a being who, a sort of Buddha being who has come from the Dharmakaya, and so not seeing them with our ordinary kind of impure perception. And then in verse 4 it says, abandoning the thought of mistakes, make a request with pure appearance. So understanding the sense in which this guru appears from the Dharmakaya and how we have a pure perception of them as possessing the Dharmakaya and being a Nirmanakaya emanation and seeing them clearly in this aspect. And whether that guru is actually that or not, what the importance here is our understanding, if we get an understanding of the Dharmakaya and the Nirmanakaya through that Guru in front of us, then however much we're able to do that, the power of that will allow us to get a clearer and clearer and purer perception of them, and getting away from our sort of our appearances which come to us from a kind of ordinary sphere of perception, and so understanding them to appear in this way to us, sort of coming from the sphere of the Dharmakaya and appearing to it, and being pure, appearing to us in a purer way. And then then it says to us in the last two lines of the verse, don't let your mind stray. Place your mind in being in the nature of devotion and respect. So having this, and therefore, with that, seeing them in that pure perception, having devotion and respect for them, and then the last line, don't lose mindfulness without forgetting remembrance. So don't, without losing your mindfulness, remain in that state of devotion. Hold your mind in that state of devotion towards them, with that pure perception and aspect.
Mm-hmm. So now, here I think it is so necessary for all of us when we try to stay very mindful and total straight devotion. The devotion has its own kind of a power, so powerful, because that devotion has some kind of like duality, non-duality. Because how I got this idea is when we have a strong attachment. When somebody has a very strong attachment towards somebody, you give that person hundreds and thousands of reasons that the person whom he really loves so much. Say one thing, forget about listening, he feels so uncomfortable and start kind of bringing anger towards the person who's saying this, giving this information. He really kind of rocks down and try to protect his feeling, because this is another part of the devotion. This is something, it's similar as we have a strong, a little bit of shamatha, really concentration very strong there. So that kind of attachment works like a shamatha, works like also non-duality devotion. But sadly, this devotion is based on mistaken information, and it is not stable. But here, the devotion what we are talking here, it is more with a very kind of a profound, because here the reason that we are looking into the teaching of the Guru, which he taught on a Dharmakaya, so once this is like a really that in this world, how many people got this sort of teaching to how to eliminate self-grasping. Even that your teacher or the Lama does not practice his own whatever he says, but to at least to receive, to listen to this teaching, it's like you don't need another reason and logics. If you think that bringing down the self-grasping is truly something that you really need in your life. So then, who is sitting in front of you giving this teaching is somehow it's a miracle. Normally, in the Buddhist, we don't believe much in miracle. Miracle sounds like no cause, no nothing, but it just comes out. It's not like that. But somehow we met this to so much karmic connection, so much in the past. Something happened, and this is happening now. So somehow this is normally when we say enlightened activities. So this is how you are receiving and listening, not only Lama but your friends. That seeing one few words on a website, this also is through some kind of enlightened activities and your karmic causes and conditions. That is really just putting in front of you. Many people are not getting this sort of teaching at all. They are getting more wrong information each and every day. But here we are getting something very important, which in the clear words by the Chandrakirti, he, after the 18th chapter, when he explained about how important is emptiness, then he quoted from Buddha's scripture saying, there is a great master, Bodhisattva, who is always crying. And then Buddha gave the reason why he was crying. He is always crying, who is my right teacher? He is crying for a right teacher, but he knows what kind of teacher what he needs. That was more very inspiring. It's not like I want a teacher. It's not like that. He knows what kind of teacher he needs, because he feels that his life will get wasted if he does not meet the person who can give him the right antidote for his own suffering. So then, time to time, he will meet the great, the masters, teachers. But somehow, their teaching are like, he can connect so much, but it's not ripening his imprints. So then, even he meets with the Buddha, the Buddhas will say, you need to purify this and this, then you would get the right teacher. So surprisingly, his teacher is not a Buddha. His right teacher is one Bodhisattva who is not on the Arya path. He is also on the path of accumulation. Yeah, path of preparation, on path of preparation or the accumulation. Society will consider. How do you translate society?
It's
ordinary?
something that an ordinary being, but it's a little bit, it's inaccurate, but
Yeah.
ordinary being.
Yeah, for meantime, you can say ordinary. Not fully ordinary like us, but ordinary. So then when he receives the teaching on emptiness, every teaching that he gets, it really that he can put that into practice without much effort. So that is the Bodhisattva always crying that when will I meet my right teacher, my right teacher. So that is quoted in the clear words by Chandrakirti. So somehow we are receiving so many teachings on emptiness, but even though we are not so sure we are the right vessel for this emptiness teaching or not, but the most important thing is, do we have a wish? Do we have a wish to overcome suffering? And then the suffering that I really meant is, as we see this morning when we said, the package once born, the whole problem of this, your problem came when you celebrated your birthday. So, happy birthday. Welcome to samsara. So that becomes your the first chapter of the life in here. So you got annoyed now. So now the thing is, you cannot just eliminate like that. Because people who commit suicide, because they have this thing in their life like so depressed, and they wanted to get out from this situation, and then they choose living and dying. Dying is much better because I don't need to deal with this anymore. But this is by doing the not right thing, not by using the right methods. So with the not just having a disgust feeling, but on the top of that, having to liberate from this suffering. Because these two that you shouldn't get mixed, because many of us, when you feel disgust, when you feel annoyed from the situation, then you wanted to feel like, okay, I wanted to practice Dharma. Then you forced yourself to practice Dharma. It's more when you got disgust through all the activities or things from samsara. But first, most important is you need to see how much I have understanding of liberation, wanted to liberate. Because Lama Tsongkhapa's, in the three principal aspects of the path, when he says, when you feel disgust from this life's problem, then you feel disgust, still you haven't got the renunciation yet. So he adds one more. Not only this, also next life, even you will have a option to reborn as a billionaire or a king of this world, but still you will feel like, I don't want to. So not only having this, but still one more. Day and night, once you wanted to feel it, get the liberation. So Where did Lama Tsongkhapa put day and night when you feel like that whatever you take a step, you are getting closer to the liberation. That is the time when the person has generated the renunciation. That's Lama Tsongkhapa's. So, dilaya gyun di yubi gyumsenki ani nga chöchi me se mepche. Gyun di thongpa ina yang nye di zane ta lama ine re, zho ine re, ani chö di kurangi gane nye ki gyun ma wuchu thongku di nye di kyepsang di ki tundala. Mi yu di chö du nye ki chö du tsugu yu di, a mi yu taga rang gangla de toba ji digi gyun di gangla ya samladang na digi means samladang da chik gyun do bang dang sadi. Yani tangdong ya nga zo gyun mangbo tong ya di kari yungu du si ani nga rang mongbe tiba dang legi wongi dami da char yungu du sadi tong ris ina ya tongwa di na xin chi chi nye dili ya tsamar zini de goya mi du si tsamar zini de goya mi du si o dinjegi tohne mugyu gyungondu shoos. Gyundo paane tanangi solondu rangsen genyondo mundu mugyu gyungondu shoos echi dinjegi samadang yusre.
And so here, in terms of, there are sort of two ways of sort of looking at these, the first lines 4 and 5 of the first verse again, where it says, abandoning the thoughts of mistakes, make a request with pure appearance, not letting your mind stray, place your mind being in the nature of devotion and respect. And so this way of developing this devotion and respect for the Guru here. And so not so much looking for the faults. Something that Rinpoche said before, I didn't translate, was that when we're dealing with this pure perception, it's not for the advantage of the Guru, it's for the advantage of ourselves to see the person with pure perception. So here, if we're wishing to develop this mind, if we want to develop a mind which wishes and strives for liberation from samsara, then not seeing the faults, but looking at the advantages that will come to us by seeing things in a positive light. So whether this involves our gurus, whether this involves our Dharma friends, our spiritual sort of brothers and sisters, our Dharma friends, and thinking very much in terms of seeing it from that positive advantage of looking at what our aims are, what is the purpose, what are we aiming for, and then taking the positive advantages to help us follow that way. So not sort of Rinpoche did it nibadigi ledan the supplements of Mimona ledan to give Matoya something there.
Ledan Mimongi?
Yeah. Jun Matoya, Tachini, or she do cheat the Jun Matan, Ketnan, the symbol tongue.
No.
Neither day, I did.
Gyondo said to be Gyondo. Tansikadido, in the Shikado. Gyondo said to be. The Shik the Shik quality of Gyondo Bani, Tanangi, so top said the Shik quality of.
Madame Chitran, the Tapsi need or she picked the Yumatoya, kept on Toya or she chair. Tapi, and Tashiniba Digi, or Tashiniba Karina, that destruction with it.
Tambudi Ale, Tambudini Karla, I totally forget what is the first one, second one. Tambudi that. So the Lama, another topic, the December, and in answer. Guru was up down, so we should always up there's a Yun Maton, so positive mind go take kept on and did all up. Nibadi Susugil, and they Tandu the mood in the tongue. 무튜네 통한 거와 교인들 통한들 교인들이 가르기 원게 레송 세도 참배 시피기 중생도 마치르체 마랑게 레기 원게 통고도 무스 얘기 레기 원게 통한 거도 무스지 마도 마랑도 남자 교인도 가진 피기니 여버디 가 통한 거도 무스지 피기를 여버디 세마라다마도 소소 통해하기 로디 아니 교인 매버선으로 통한도 참배 말이 말인데 통해야지 말이 레기 원기 제샤스도 레라 마타베게 나와도 가야 탑시지야지.
So there's a second. So the first one is sort of just just choosing not to perceive the faults and choosing to perceive the advantages. But the second method of developing this sort of state of devotion and pure perception is to see. So in our normal state, we tend to see the faults, whether it's all around us, and even within our gurus or within our Dharma friends, etc., even with the Dharma itself. So what we have to understand in this second sort of context, we understand how this is a mistaken form of seeing things, a mistaken form. Things appear to us in a mistaken way, caused by our own sort of karmic propensities, because we always we always have this tendency to sort of see things as problems or faults as being on the outside, as coming from the outside. So this is a way of seeing, understanding that is our mind itself, which is a kind of at fault. The core, the underlying cause is from inside of us and not from outside of us. So this is another way, and not taking those sort of outright reasons to see faults, but to see the fault internally. So this is another way of dealing with where it says here, not letting your mind stray, and place your mind being in the nature of devotion and respect by abandoning the thoughts. This is another way of doing that.
So one time when I was talking with the one friend, Rinpoche, such a great practitioner, so that Rinpoche, he has a student, very devoted, but not really intelligent. And then he needs to scold him so much. So in front of me, like many times, he scolded like, "Oh, so stupid." I told him several times, and so but tirelessly, he will teach. But then he has a very smart student. But he spent so much time with his student who is not that smart. And then one day I said, "Why are you not giving so much teaching to the other one, but you always tirelessly working with this person?" He said, "I don't know. Because I really wish to give lots of teaching to the smart student, but every time this person comes to me, and then even though I feel annoyed, but I cannot stop. Looks like there is strong karmic connection between us somehow, which I cannot give up. Maybe he had in the past life that he did lots of purification, that he sees so much pure appearance towards me. So that maybe somehow it is awakening my compassion to not let that go. That could be one reason. He gave me this kind of tip. Sometimes, for me, in my case, it's not the same case of the other great beings, but sometimes even the person does not understand and not interested in Dharma at all. Even I could spend with that person hours and hours talking about Dharma, without any tiredness, without any annoying feeling. Even I don't care if he believes in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha or not. I just want to explain. and then not having a kind of a hope or expectation, without any expectation, just whether he's going to practice or not. Maybe he will put that in a garbage. I don't care, but I can sit. But sometimes even that person is a long-term practitioner, but I wanted to discuss about Dhamma. I cannot discuss forget about hours, maybe 20-30 minutes. Then I feel like, okay, that's enough. You need to leave. So somehow there could be some kind of explanations. This karmic connection and pure vision things, that how really connects the connections. And also not only we need to talk about guru devotion here, but also in a relationship. Sometimes that the couple, one partner can be so annoying, but then the other person cannot let go, just need to sit, and the children go crazy, like, why do we need to stay with him? But the partner says like, I'm not sitting with that guy because of he did stupid things, but I need to stay because I feel so close to him. There's not much explanation but sitting there. It's somewhere there, but we don't have a tool to dig out what is their karmic connection. When you think like this, it's a bit tiring. What is this karmic connection? But for the Buddha, there's no effort, because he sees very clearly. That's why it's not called seeing the subtlest karmic connection. It's not called the clairvoyance. It's called omniscience. So once you have omniscience, then you look into sentient beings like, okay, poor him, poor she, poor him, oh, but I see the future. In this time, at that time, this is how I can help him. After this, I need to stay and try my best to train him. So he sees that. So sometimes he will educate the arhats, saying, I see that person does have this kind of a unique quality. He has a seed of that, but you guys don't see this. So this is why I am called Buddha. So these are the things. In here, we need to practice the mindfulness here, because in order to keep the connection very purely with your teacher, your guru, so you need to practice this pure, seeing the pure vision, pure kaja, right?
Yeah, pure perception or
perception.
Yeah.
That you need to practice it. So this is quite important practice. Jodobane tanang sowato rasim jayendo majo migudi ngado sho chamba chimbe de chini migudi ngado sums. Odi cheje ta di lama le tembe ane lame ki zo tu yone chende tone ane lame ki kudang 아니 다 숨도 믹스돼 남다 월마 리지 마도 단다디 나로다 구도 투니 템베 아니 라메기 연데 템베 토네 아니 라마라야 미그 템보 장베기다 더티기 싸드려.
She's so Yeah, so here, these last lines where it talks about, abandoning the thought of mistakes and developing pure perception, and not letting our mind stray from this, and developing that sense of respect and devotion to the Guru. This is mostly sort of being said in reference here in terms of the Gurus or the mental qualities, and also to some extent, as we mentioned, with the union and method of wisdom in relation to the qualities of the body, or as we mentioned, sort of Namanikaya, the mental and physical activities of the Guru. The speech, in terms of speech, that comes a little bit later on down, and so it's this way of recollecting those incredible qualities of the Guru, which then brings us a very stable form of devotion and respect to them, which is the absolute sort of pillar of the way of this way of cultivating meditation on the view of emptiness, or guides to the view. Guides to the view.
제장가 라브림 나로리야 람기 짜와 신이 된 주세 직제 다다 떠지기 나로리야 아니 라마디 계속 군주 중 오로 공부 리세 니디 삼로당다 직보 가르치고를 쓰려자베 아랑 저기 아니 꽤나 라브림 나로리야 아니 아랑 좋다 지게 기부 중고 기부 din 기부 친구 값소 안 소소소소 방도 연대만 보지 송구요래 대다 담지 같이 장샤베이나 같이 장샤베이나 양 아니 딜이야 고하차가 지금 그래 텔이야 아니 지금 밀리 시에케버지 차지 삼로 땅에 땅 캐버지도 차지 공지 결도 지금 또왜 명라와지 참라와지 또왜 참라와지 지그레마도 또왜 친이고 지그 말이스 가르친스나 개위신이 된줄 삼로되미도 와스 이 중세 송고도 봐 제자가 개위신이 된줄 삼로되 매이나 아니 원이 시비 연된 간르지 있는 수수비 귤을 나를 좀된 되니 송대 수수 라마지와 파르마지에 봐도 연된 들라오지 않을 이유는 기가 말했어 진짜 깨발라 냐바도 랑게자와 개위신이 직된 거です
adapting adapting because lamna 개위신이 되게 랑게자와레스 adapting 그래서
képson kundu 오
yeah, so you have two sort of different presentations of this understanding of the crucial importance of the Guru in our practice, because in the Lamrim tradition it's said that the Guru is the root of the path. It's stated very clearly in Lamrim, and here what we see in these sort of guides to the correct view is where it says, for instance, here in the second line, the kind Guru is the essence of all the refuges. But these are basically saying very similar things. For instance, in Lamrim, there are the three scopes of practice of Lamrim. So at the beginning of the text, they usually have a section on the correct reliance on the spiritual master, and then they explain the sort of three scopes of practices of different beings, and they explain the different things that need to be abandoned on each level of practice, and the different kind of realizations that need to be attained. And but if we go through those practices, whatever they are, whether they're in the sort of the smaller scope, the modest scope, the middling scope, or the higher scope, if we go through those practices and training in them, that even we will never not be able to get sort of full understanding of those. If we try to explain them, they will not be, we won't have a proper explanation. If we meditate on them, even if we feel that we've developed realizations on them, that will not actually be a correct or real realizations if we haven't begun the whole process by correct reliance on the spiritual master. So this, and we won't be able to attain the qualities which have come down to us, in an unbroken lineage all the way through the sort of the Buddhas and the whole, and Bodhisattvas, the entire tradition. So both of these traditions, whether it's the Guide to the View or whether it's Lamrim, place a central importance at the beginning on correct reliance on a spiritual teacher.
Last year, quite recent in America, when I visit New York, there one group requested me to give a teaching, and then during our question and answer session, somebody asked me, what do you think of AI? And if you receive a teaching from AI, because AI gives you quite a profound answers, and then if you have a doubt, you take a kind of a teaching from the AI, and then can still that we can take as a guru or something that they asked me this question. So then I explained a bit. They really didn't like that much. But then I given one story of Buddha, or the time of the Buddha, when the story goes like, there is this non-Buddhist the king whose wife, the queen, is a Buddhist, and due to the king, she cannot go to Buddha's teaching. So then the queen, what she does is she will call her maids, and then she picked one of the smart and very sharp and with a good memory. She sent her maid to Buddha's teaching, and then she will listen from Buddha, and then she will deliver this message to her, and then she practiced. And she was doing exactly what Buddha was giving teaching, and all these necessary causes and conditions, she felt like everything is met. Still, the realization is not coming. So then she got quite worried and sent her maid a message to Buddha saying, I have put all the efforts, and as you guided, I have done everything, but still I don't get this realization. So what is the obstacle? So then Buddha checked with the maid and said, well, normally when you give the teaching to the queen, how do you teach? So then she said, well, the queen will sit on a throne, and I sit on the floor, and I deliver the message to her. And then Buddha smiled and said, maybe you sit on the throne, and then she listens from the floor, and then see what happens. So she goes home and tells her queen, her magistrate, that Buddha sent this message. Without any single pride, she sits down on the floor and then put the maid on the throne, and then see the maid as the Buddha himself, and listens to teaching without an obstacle. She gets a realization. So for this reason, what is the takeaway from this? So now it really answers that I cannot take a place of your guru. And most importantly, all the realizations, all these things, how much you feel like I know it, but if you don't have the glue, which is the Guru devotion, it is not going to work. It will be more like I know. When you become Buddha, you have this ability. On this ground, you have this ability. On the path of seeing, this is your quality. You know much better than maybe the other great beings. But realization, this experience, direct experience, will be not there. So this is why in any practices, we have to take a refuge, and then especially in Tantra, if you miss the Guru, Guru Puja, Guru Yoga, and then how much recitation, how much you did the retreat for eons and eons, it's not coming out well. So that's why it's connected with this Lama Serkong Rinpoche. Lama Serkong Rinpoche, so one of the unique quality I have seen is his Guru devotion. Because when we did a retreat together, we all know that if Rinpoche take the seat of the chanting master, then it will take so long. So we decided the chanting master will be someone else. But when Rinpoche was so clever, Rinpoche said, the rest I can agree, but I have this unique the Guru devotion prayers that can I lead this? So I cannot say no. Then I said, of course. Then Rinpoche and we start doing the Guru yoga together. Started from 5 o'clock until maybe 8:30. Rinpoche will continuously do that. That was one of the biggest teaching I ever received from Rinpoche's indirect teaching. He really enjoys that. But me and some of our friends were rolling eyes like, come on, now we need to do the first session. The first session is not started yet. But then Rinpoche is so comfortable. His main emphasis is on that. Because he knows something. That we rush, but he never rushed. So this is something which so normally people will come with a little bit hesitation. Okay, now he is the reincarnation of my teacher's reincarnation. So even I do have that hesitation. Is there like, okay, looks very new. Now with mixture feeling. But Rinpoche, when he sees me, he just fall on the ground and make a prostrate and saying so many things. That was the first impression of me. I'm seeing Rinpoche. So he just fall down and make persona. So I always remember why this elderly man making a presentation to me, saying so many things. So those are all connected to his practice. So this one thing that when Adisha in Tibet, he said to the Tibetans, you Tibetan people, because he's Indian, so he said, you Tibetan people, your respect to the Lama is very ordinary, and then you want to get a fully enlightenment. And then he looks surprised. So this is one of the greatest teaching of the Adisha. So Adisha's behavior can be very straightforward. Because I checked with my teacher when I read some of the Adisha's teaching, it's very straightforward. And then normally people don't like straightforward. So I said, with the bodhicitta and everything, sometimes straightforward is not that good, isn't it? So my teacher just looked at me and said, at the time when you have a great compassion or bodhicitta, the straightforward is there's no option left. Because if you love someone so much and you see something that you are going on a wrong path, then it really troubles this his bodhicitta or the great compassion. So this is why the straightforward just comes with the bodhicitta as a bonus. So that's really true actually. So similarly, what here at the beginning of this, the mindfulness, the first one, is something that what we really need to bring the mindfulness is if you say how much the emptiness is important, then this teaching is so important, then the teacher is very important. This is how it goes. The teacher represents the Buddha, and then the teaching represents the Buddha's teaching. It becomes the connection there. And then not only that, with this also, because now second we are going to talk about mother sentient beings. So we have to talk about a great company.
So now we read the second verse, the Song of Four Mindfulnesses, and it says, in the prison of suffering and beginning and circling, 6 types of contained beings, bereft of happiness, wander. There are the fathers and mothers who have been kind to me, abandoning attachment and hatred, meditate on cherishing others and compassion, not letting your mind stray, place your mind being in the nature of compassion. With unforgetting remembrance, hold your mind being in compassion.
So now, first, this line, if you put yourself into this, not the mother sentient being, into the cycling, this samsara, but if you put yourself in there, and then you wanted to get out from this. That's called renunciation. So now you take out your position and you put all the mother sentient beings in there, and then you feel like